Hello to everyone watching today's complete quick guide to the Toyota Caldina GT4. We're gonna go over heaps, an overview, a review where we cover everything every other review does, only in like a minute or two, followed by a buyer's guide, and then a mod guide, and then we talk about perhaps this is one of the best real world cars. Let's just go.
Yeah, I'm on call with a hit or two. No small talk, me and Mr. News pull up with a flex on the ball at the back.
Huge thanks to Kia. He wanted to see some videos on the Caldina. In fact, he bought a 1.8 Caldina that he started modifying. Now he is an OG, and I would appreciate so much if you go over to his new photography page at Kia Media. Check it out, drop him a follow, I'd really appreciate that. So let's get into the overview. Now we're talking about the 3rd gen T240. Americans, you probably won't recognize this car, well, at all if I'm honest. It's a very rare car, and it was produced between 2002 and 2007, and basically, it's just a Caldina GT4 wagon. Yeah. The same exact engine, with more power, and the same 4-wheel drive all-track system. That's pretty cool. So what is the engine? Well, it's a 3S GTE, that's a 2-litre double overhead cam, and it puts out 260 horsepower with the crank, and 325 Newton meters of torque. If you are enjoying, surely drop a like, eh? How much does this car weigh? 1,490 kgs, which is more in line with the Mazda Speed 3 than a Speed 6. And this is, you know, a wagon. So getting that power to the ground, we've got the full-time 4-wheel drive system dubbed all-track. Now, I have to admit it, it's better than the Speed 6's all-wheel drive. Minorly worse than Subaru's symmetrical system, but that's god tier. This all-track system is really, really good. So what's the 0 to 100 on this? Well, it's about in the high 6-second range. This is because it's got long gearing, and there's one other issue, and we'll talk about that later, okay? So now, let's talk about what makes a real-world best car. Obviously, it can't be uber expensive. You know, get a Chiron, blast it through the mountains, squirt it through traffic, try to drive enthusiastically like you would, and you will not. You will be scared that you will clip something, you've got to break a mirror, and that's about $80,000 to fix. Yeah, you want to know that you can abuse it, you can use it, and if something breaks, it's only, you know, 50 bucks. Not gonna lie, that still kinda hurts. Of course you want it to be fast and tunable, so turbo, practical, and either rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Yeah, sorry, front-wheel drive. You want it to be raw, you want it to be a driver's car, you want to feel it. And that's the thing, sort of a mid-2000s car. You see, if you go older than that, they're a bit sloppier, they're not as direct. If you go newer, it's not really raw, not really a driver's car. And driving it has to be fun, so we want to be light and agile, which sort of points us towards the Japanese route. The 3 cars that match that, Legacy GT, Speed 6, and Caldina GT4. We'll get onto that later on. But anyways, on to the review.
So in conclusion, I'm gonna keep it 100% honest with y'all. That was fucking awful.
Let's start out with the positives. First of all, there is a bit of turbo lag, and that is fun. And also the turbo comes in nice and hard, sort of like an Evo, sort of snappy turbo delivery. And stock, the 3S GTE is a very good engine. The way it delivers power, the way it feels, and it can also handle about 400 wheel horsepower on stock internals. Some people say it handles 500, but I wouldn't risk it. Though one thing, it is quite hard to make easy power on this thing. So if you're a mad tuner, Another positive, the wagon. Wagons are so damn useful. Here's a picture with the seats up. You could fit all the body parts you could ever imagine in that boot. Put the seats down and you could fit all the bodies that you could ever imagine in this. It really is big. Following this is Toyota's reliability. It is so good, way superior to any Mazda Speed or Subaru. I can't really comment on the suspension set because I couldn't really even find a wheel well picture because these are so rare. But it's firm, it's not just a Caldina with an engine and a drivetrain. Caldina with an engine and a drivetrain. I think all of them have that. Next up, the comfortable but grippy seats are great, and for the mid-2000s, Toyotas, The quality of the materials is really good, but then going on to the negatives, the design is more normal car. It's good for a normal car, but it's not really that sporty. Another thing, it is quite slow from a dig. The tall gearing means you can't really launch it that hard. And then we get onto the main disadvantage of this car, automatic only. Yep. Well, of course it's not going to be dual clutch or anything. It is a torque converter. So that's where we get back to the thing. Is it the real world best car? I have to say, probably not. A car that's like this, that's light, boosted, is a sort of car that is a driver's car. You want to connect with it, you want to shift gears by yourself. Anyways, let's just go into the buyer's guide. So, do you really want this car? For the price, you could get this, or you could get a much less reliable, but manual Legacy GT. And another thing to consider, like most fat cars with a turbo ski, it requires premium fuel to prevent detonation from the extra pressure of boost. But you want it? Let's just get onto these problems. None really. I mean, the cam belt, that's like any other car. Check if that needs doing. Like the axles don't really fail prematurely because you can't really launch them hard. Then it's just sort of a normal car, you know, service history, the rust, especially around the wheel arches for most cars. Then the main thing, I guess, being a sort of high performance car is ask them what fuel they use, you know, do they use premium? Oil changes, how often do they do it? The mods, is it tuned good? Does it drive good? It's just that sort of thing. But then we get onto the mod guide. Now I have to say, there isn't really anything out there to go off. But there are quite a lot of information for the 3S GTE, so we'll go over that, and of course we'll account for the all-wheel drive drivetrain loss, which is of course more than rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all of that. So stock at 260 crank, that's about 210 at the wheels. So to make some, I say easy, not really that easy if I'm honest, power, you're gonna need an intake, an exhaust, some spark plugs, and a fuel cut dispenser, because the stock ECUs do like to cut fuel at around 11 psi a boost, when we want to tune for more like 18, 17. Add an intercooler onto that, and you'll be at 230 wheel horsepower. Yeah, I mean, it didn't really gain that much, if I'm honest, but yeah. You want more than that, of course you do. If we add a turbo, and we'll need an AFR gauge, because at this point, we're pushing the max of the fuel system, so we do want to monitor that, because you don't want to blow up that bloody 3S GTE. With that, 260 wheel horsepower. Not much, not much. You want even more? Okay, we have to do the fuel system now, like I just said. We'll need a fuel pump, fuel rail, injectors, and an upgraded engine management, you know, ECU, as well as ignition coils, and probably at this point a clutch, because it will start slipping. Add that with EA5, 340 wheel horsepower. And yeah, it's hard to make easy power on these things, but over easy power, it is good, because from there it's just, you know, head gasket, bigger turbo, and all that. And then, you know, you can go 400 wheel horsepower on stock internals. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.